If only other media outings about DC villain characters were this good. This is the review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Sakar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, voice only, we have Lokismom. How are you this fine evening?
Doing really fine.
It's good. Merv, showing his beautiful face on camera. Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
We have the original Mr. Taylor first. How are you?
Great.
And last but not least, we have voice only Mr. Lord Deathman. How are you?
I am blissful.
Oh, we're on a high, people. Today we're going to talk about episode 3 of The Penguin called Bliss. Thank you for that bridge. But before we do, I want to also all to help us out. Like and share this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you really can't get enough of us, join our ranks. Go to sakar.freeforms.net, set up an account, get to know us, and join our show. There's a link in the description below. Click it, and you become a champion yourself. Consider this your final warning. After this point, the spoilers are incoming. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, do that first, and then check out our review. So, Episode 3. While Oz and Sophia are trying to set up their distribution network, Vic has a choice to make. And boy, what an episode it was again. Taylor, let's have it. Did you like this week's episode?
Yes, this episode was fantastic. Most amazing thing to me is that it's only the third episode. This show has so much depth and so much stuff going on that it feels like we're on like episode 6 or 7 at this point. And I was really shocked because I looked at it again this morning. I'm just to double check. Was that really only the third episode? And I'm like, yes, the show's really, really well done.
Yeah. Lokismom, do you agree with Taylor?
Yes, absolutely. He's spot on about how much has happened, and we're just like into the third episode. And we're already to they're just backstabbing each other, coming and going. I mean, it's just turning on each other, and then whatever happens, and then Oz has to reconfigure himself and how am I going to settle this situation? And then we see we did get to the very beginning. We saw a little backstory of Vic and what he went through when the Riddler blew up the levees surrounding Gotham. And that was very well played, and I think he really showcased this. The actors, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but his talents and everything. What's happening to him? Is he going to turn into some sort of even somebody more vicious? Because I think he's having. Well, he's not. I don't think he is having a mental breakdown. And I'm thinking did he get some bliss in him somehow. I'm not sure, because there was a point where he hits the airbag and we see red on his nose, and I'm wondering is that blood or was it where he fell into some bliss. But anyway, whatever, we can see he's just not doing well at all, and it's sad because he's such a good kid, and so it really made me. Yeah, a little bit of like I had for Oz. I lost it. He's just really despicable. There's no redeeming values in him that I could see at all. I mean, not really. Not even his love for his mother, I think, helps him at this point.
Yeah. No. Lord Deathman, what did you think?
This was my favorite episode thus far, and that was coming off a diabolically strong pilot. Usually, this is the point in the narrative where things would slow down. I felt it was going to be inevitable that we would have an episode that focused on Vic's backstory. And, the more pedestrian version of that would go, we would spend a lot of time in his family's kitchen and, kind of dealing with domestic dramas. And that's usually the point of a show where you go to a flashback and it kind of just slows everything down and you lose momentum. But somehow they were able to take that, put the focus on this secondary character and keep the show as propulsive as it has been since episode 1, if not a little bit more. There's an urgency and an energy to this show that I really love. And it's about desperate people doing, whatever it is they think they need to do to get by in this world. Great episode.
Yeah. Merv, I assume you're agreeing with the other champions here.
This was as bad as Joker 2. I mean, no.
Sorry.
How dare you mention that movie on this?
Why
no,
did you
this,
say that?
this, I think I said it after episode 1. Like if it maintains this trajectory, this could be one of my favorite shows of all time. And so far, it has not dipped away from that trajectory. This episode really, in my opinion, establishes Vic as essential to the show, to this show, or at least this season in particular. His relationship with Oz is one of the most interesting aspects of the show for me right now. I love the father-son dynamic, or mentor-mentee dynamic, whatever you want to call it there, that's heavily on display in this episode. On top of that, you get all the Sophia stuff and regular Oz stuff and Mafia stuff, and like Taylor said, I cannot believe this is only 3 episodes in. There's so much to chew on with this show right now. I love every episode so far, but this one's great.
Yeah, Lokismom. Did you have any negatives at all? My biggest positive, by the way, was that there was no scene with his mother. Yeah, so, but Lokismom.
Well, yeah, I mean they had 2 good scenes with, and I called her Cherry Jones last week. This is Deidre O'Connell, I believe is her name. But the 2 actresses kind of favor, so I get them mixed up. But anyway, yeah, she wasn't in this episode. I think it was because it focused more on Vic. He sort of came to. He wasn't just a sideline character, sort of the comic relief. I think is why he's sort of been up to this point. Yeah, he's. Just talking about the mother, but I was interesting. If you're good, but remember the Sopranos, because they really referenced it a lot, so I'll just go ahead and mention it. The relation, that was the crux of Tony's problem right there, was he didn't have a problem being a criminal. He had a bad relationship with his mother, whereas I'm sorry, not Vic. Oz has a terrific relationship with his mother. As sick as it is that they, you can tell they're very close and depend on each other. So other than that, yeah, I think I really can't come up with any negatives. Like I said, I think at this point that I've already mentioned it, I'm starting to lose my mojo for Oz. He's really, why would I want to spend time watching a TV show about a character I despise and loathe? So I'm hoping maybe next week they'll throw us a bone or something regarding his character. Yeah, no negatives that I can think of at all. I mean, it's just like it's just a terrific show and top quality, and right up there with Sopranos and Breaking Bad and all these other TV shows that have been so wonderful this last few decades.
Yeah, Oz is the villain you love to hate, and that's why this show is so intriguing in my eyes, because Colin Farrell does such a great job portraying this. Well, bad man, not Batman, bad man, evil man, better word. Sorry for the confusion. And he does it very well, and you're kind of rooting for him, and you're not. That it's so well done, and in that way, I think he is. Yeah, he's not a hero. He's the anti-hero. Not even. He's just straight up evil. He's just there for his own purpose. But anyway, Taylor, any negatives on this week's episode?
No.
Okay. What did you love the most about this episode?
Yeah, Penguin is not the hero. He's
No.
not an anti-hero. He's the protagonist of the show, but he
Yeah.
is a villain, a straight up villain.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for him because I want to see him become the Kingpin, and then I want to see the Batman kick his his you know what all across Gotham. All right, that's why I'm rooting for him.
Mhm.
But what I love about the show is the character is so great. He has decided he is going to take over the Falcone criminal empire, and no matter what happens, no matter how much crazy stuff happens to throw him off of that track, he does whatever he has to do to get back on that track and headed towards that goal. He is so single-minded on that. He'll use anybody, he'll kill anybody, he'll do anything it takes. 1 minute, he is pledging undying loyalty to Sophia, and the next minute, the hell with her, leave her, let's go.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then with, of course, Vic. Now, and of course, he's manipulating Vic horribly. He's using all the same stuff that criminals always use to get young people. Why do they have the money and you don't have the money? You're supposed to have the money too. You work hard and all this stuff. Blah blah blah. Same kind of stuff. And it's working. Vic had made his choice in this episode. He could have left town with his girlfriend, and he made the choice to stay and go back and save. He didn't know he was saving Oz until he got there, but he went back and he saw that Oz was in trouble. He also still could have left, but nope, he decided to save him because he's on board now. He's on this train with the Penguin, and we saw in this episode we saw the whole story, where he came from to where he is now, which is 180-degree turn from where he came from. It surprised me on the internet. It surprised me how many people didn't realize that it was a flashback until like the explosions started going off. But I guess they just weren't paying attention because the radio was talking about how it was election day and everything. And which is, if you saw the Batman movie, you know that's when the when the Riddler bombing happened. So it's kind of weird that so many people didn't catch that. But I thought I don't know what else to say about this show or this episode because it's just excellent. The pacing is just amazing. Like I said, of how much ground they've already covered in 3 episodes, and it never feels rushed. It never feels like you're missing anything. It's just superbly executed. I'm just loving this show.
Yeah, there's not much fat on the show. It just keeps going.
Hmm.
I mean, one moment he says, I have a plan with VD, and the next moment you're thinking, why is he in a restaurant talking to Vic? But there's a point there. I mean, it's well done. I mean, excellent writing. This is how you make a good show. Absolutely. Lord Deathman, do you agree?
I do wholeheartedly. I think that just dramatically, this show is by far stronger than the Batman. I'm sorry, Batman folks, but listening to Robert Pattinson grunt his way through an entire movie and punch people randomly, cool, and with great cinematography, nice, technically well done film. But this is really another dimension of drama here when you're watching Penguin. It's great to see a character that has to think on his feet, who is really complex. At some moments, he seems to be incredibly dense and, not a well reasoning or thinking person. And at some moments, he's a criminal mastermind. And at yet other moments, he's a deeply perceptive individual. There were quite a few moments dramatically that stood out to me in this episode, but Vic's Vic and Oz's confrontation in the bathroom, where Oz finally says, "Look, what's going on here?" Grabs the phone, and all the while, I mean, you were thinking, "Hey, Vic kind of is a prisoner here, right? Like if he leaves, there's going to be consequences." But Oz kind of says, "No, you're not a prisoner. Look, if you want to live like a punk, and eat crap, get on that bus, go see Graciela, live your life out, as a regular guy." And right after that scene in the bathroom, you see Oz at the bar, kind of a little bit more contemplative. He doesn't seem like he's out for vengeance. He doesn't look vindictive. He just kind of has this dejected quality of him of having lost a trusted associate. And I think that's just the way to beat the stereotypes in terms of the gangster genre, but by just kind of humanizing the character from time to time. But the core strength of this episode was definitely Vic's choice, Vic's story. Is he going to get on that bus with Graciela? I think it was just excellently done from the opening with the flashback to the moments when you're in the club with him and he has that panic attack and he's dropping all of the vials on the ground and that is kind of merging with what happened on the day of the Riddler attack. This show is punching well above its weight class in terms of visual effects. The flood effects, like in the opening sequence, when you actually see it happen from the point of view of someone who was not the Riddler or Batman or whatever, was really impressive. As were the club effects again during the panic attack, and I was surprised that Vic makes it all the way to the bus station. You see Graciela online getting on the bus on the Greyhound or whatever it is, and Vic, the editing isn't 100% clear, but I'm assuming he decided to turn back after stealing his boss's car. By the way, he like on the way out of town, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to leave this at the bus station or whatever." That dynamic moment and incredible moment where Vic decides to slam the car into one of the assailants. I mean, from top to bottom, just great episode, great show. It's only been 3 episodes, but I feel like we've gotten like 6 episodes of character development and genre out of this show. Whereas a lot of shows today tend to feel a little short, or a little compressed in terms of what's happening. This is just unfurling out like a feast. You're just getting so much with each episode. But it's really easy to follow the beats, and it's really easy to know who the protagonist is, what the drama is, what the struggle is. A lot of great work from all the folks involved.
Yeah, I agree. Merv, are you creating a filler episode just to have the pace slow down a bit?
Not at all.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying we won't get one, but if it maintains this pace, I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah. Any negative comments on this week's episode, or are you just like the rest? No, I don't have any.
I pretty much can't think of any. If I were to think of one, I would have to sit here for a while and actually mull it over. It's a fantastic episode of television. As everyone said, this episode is it's largely Victor's episode so far. I already said it really establishes him as an essential cog in this Penguin show. And again, you get his whole decision here. He has 2 potential futures, and he makes his choice which one he wants. We'll see if it pans out for him. It probably won't, just because nothing in Gotham ever works out for anyone. So, it'll be a fun ride, I think. And I think touching on, Lokismom mentioned The Sopranos. This relationship actually feels at least a little bit like Tony Soprano's relationship with Christopher in that show, which is like a mentor-mentee, but also like highly toxic at times and very manipulative, especially on the part of like Tony to Christopher and things like that. So this definitely feels cut from a similar cloth as that, and I'm excited to see where it goes and what twists and turns it takes, and just how now after this episode, just seeing how like forthright or what ambitions is Victor going to wind up with? He's not. I get the impression he's not going to stay a lackey. He shows some I don't know, muster, if you want to call it that. Like I'm not saying he's gonna sidetrack and try to usurp Oz in season 1, but like it's got me thinking about the character long term, honestly.
Yeah, I had the same feeling.
There were 2 really great scenes in this episode that stood out. Lord Deathman already mentioned the one in the bathroom, which is the big, final confrontation between Oz and Victor about, his maybe leaving town, maybe not leaving town. But the other one to me was the restaurant one, where you see you see that manipulation and in that, kind of almost, I don't want to, again, I don't want to say father figure thing at work, but whenever he stands up for Victor, and it's not like the waiter was intentionally putting him on a defensive or anything like that, but whenever he finishes a sentence for him, Oz's reaction to that, where he was basically like, take up space, screw him, let him wait. You know what I mean? Like that, I feel like those little lines of influence on Victor are going to go a long way, and you can almost feel that with him too. Like he's learning from Oz, whether it's good or bad. I'm not saying it's, he's going to be man of the year or anything, but you can see those lines of influence. And of course, the scene goes on, and there's ulterior motives behind everything that goes on in this show. Fantastically written. I have to mention the one that really stuck out. They don't give out awards for dying in the projects. Perfectly delivered, perfectly timed in that bathroom scene, and I think just affected so many people who watched it. I saw so many people mention that line as like, "Wow, that one speaks a lot of truth," and it just goes to the writers of the show. The people writing the dialogue are as much a part of this show as the actors delivering the well-written lines of dialogue. Like it's really come together to be a show I enjoy.
I want to. You said two scenes that stand out. I agree with those two scenes, but there was one that also was a very standout to me, and that was the talk Sophia and Oz had outside of the club.
Yes, right before
That
right before the
where
end sequence.
Oz almost breaks down into tears. Whether he was acting that or that it was genuine, I don't know. But I thought that scene was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the scenes, it gets a little bit, I don't want to say overlooked, because I feel like there was so much Victor in this episode, but the Oz and Sophia stuff along this whole episode was basically them bouncing off each other so many times, like trying to work this drug deal out with, whomever, in the triads and all that stuff. And really it felt to me like it was one of them telling a lie and the other one supporting the lie, and just them playing off of their mutually fabricated manipulation of other people, that I just loved every scene with them. Whenever they're in the club talking to people, whenever they're talking to the triad lackey, the guy that basically is ready to shoot Oz on sight. There were just so many little scenes between them that you really got the dynamic between them as very familiar before this show even started, which again comes full circle whenever she kind of confronts him about it and basically says, are you happy about turning me in, or whatever the deal was there. And he admits to it, which I thought was honestly, like, it was refreshingly honest. I'm not going to say he's not manipulating her at all, but he's not trying to deceive her at all. He's like, yeah, this was good for me. Of course I'm happy about it. I come from nothing. And I think there's layers of truth in there, even though, like, you take everything that he's said so far with like a huge grain of salt, from the outside looking in. But
it's
very
obvious.
good.
It's obvious when he was a driver, he had feelings for her.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. And I'm sure there's going to be extra layers to that, the whole Hangman story that we haven't uncovered yet, and they're breadcrumbing the potential twists and turns with a lot of backstory there, I think, which is interesting. It's just one more thing to think about, whenever I'm thinking about this show. So that's fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, Lokismom, you had a follow-up.
Yeah, Lord Deathman or someone mentioned the waiter, and I just want to give a shout out to the actor who played that part. He really did well. Just a great scene. Well, all great scenes, but particularly that one. But one thing about Colin Farrell's acting here, sometimes he can be a little one note. In a lot of parts he's played, maybe that's just what he's been given, but for one thing, if you've ever noticed him, he has what's called puppy dog eyes. He's got those eyebrows where they'll peek up in the middle of the forehead, which kind of mimics a like a dog, and that's not every human being can do that, but the people who can have that little, they can just do that little, and you go, oh, it's something that we automatically respond to. But with all this makeup on him, he cannot do that. He can't use those puppy dog eyes, and it's forcing him to really be top notch at his game. Fantastic all the way around. One scene in going back to the bathroom. Now he is really making Vic codependent upon him. He is classic abuser. I mean, this is how he was in that bath. He's putting him down, just beating him down. Oh, everything I've done for you, yada yada. If this is what you want, you want to live like, you want to go back after all I've done for you and all that, and just working him. And he's doing it with Sophia, but in a different way. We have to. It's never really been mentioned, but it's quite obvious that Oz is a pimp. And so he has that pimp relationship with everybody, that he's going to work them, manipulate them. And I think that just adds to his loathsomeness. And of course, just deepens that character so much. I mean, as horrible as he is a very complex character. And I really appreciate that they have elevated comic book, what's ordinarily a one-dimensional comic book character into a very complex human being. I mean, like I say, I've said this before, you could remove the whole Batman aspect. And I wonder what Batman's doing all this. So I guess he's sulking down in the Batcave. He's not interested in what's going on.
He's listening to Nirvana.
I'm going to ask one question.
No.
Yes or no? Yes or
He's
no?
He's riding his bike, chasing some Catwoman.
Catwoman. But one question, yes or no, going around the table. Will Batman show up at the end of this story?
No.
Taylor?
No.
Merv?
No, but Wanda will.
Wanda Bukowski, yeah, she was Oz's first girlfriend. And Mr. Grandmaster himself?
No, he won't.
No. Okay, well, I agree with y'all. I just thought I'd put that in there for fun.
Yeah. Well, no, but I just think they cannot afford Robert Pattinson and Colin Farrell in one show.
Well, they don't have to say, like, hey, if you could just be there in the bat suit, it can be any actor.
Yeah, that's true. But you see those eyes. Damn those eyes. Well, people, I think we're gonna go for a rating now. And I have a feeling how this will turn out. But I'm just gonna start with you, Taylor. Get the obvious out of the way.
I give it a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I have to give this one a 10. It just keeps getting better, and since I've been giving it 9s, unless I start going to fractions, I'll just go ahead and say 10.
Lokismom?
9.5.
Yeah. Merv?
9.7.
Okay. Lord Deathman?
I am giving this 10 vials of bliss out of 10. Great episode, and shout outs to NYC because I think that is what they are modeling this Gotham on, and it looks great.
Yeah. On that, I agree. It looks fantastic. I also give it a 10 out of 10. I cannot fault this episode. I cannot fault the show. It's. I was like a little bit iffish. Is that a word? I don't know. On the scenes with his mother, takes me out of the show. But no, 10 out of 10. Love it. Absolutely great. Fantastic. Whatever word you want to use. That will conclude this review of Champions for episode 3 called Bliss of the Penguin. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, help us out, like and share this review and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really want more of us, join our forum at sucar.freeforums.net. Again, there's a link in the description. Click it and become a champion. Next week, we will talk around episode 4, of course, but you can also check out our other review series for Agatha all along. It's running on the channel at the moment. For now, I thank you all, also on behalf of our champions, and wish you to always walk steady. Bye.